Imagine the most advanced drones and missiles, vanishing, helpless, in the face of something unseen. Early November 2025. Belgorod, Russia's key artery for troops and supplies, is marked for annihilation. After devastating failures on the ground, the enemy pivots to a new horror, overwhelming the city's defenses with a relentless aerial onslaught and a campaign of psychological terror. That night, hundreds of drones, cruise missiles, ballistic missiles, and sophisticated decoys are hurled toward Belgorod. Their mission is chilling: pierce the most modern air defenses, cripple power grids, flood news feeds with chaos, and unravel civilian confidence. This is not just war against soldiers. It is a strike at the heart of a nation, engineered to break the spirit of millions. The enemy's playbook is ruthless. Swarms of cheap drones and decoys saturate the skies, burning through defender munitions and revealing hidden batteries. Behind them, lethal warheads hunt for gaps, coming in waves from every direction and altitude. The strategy is simple: overwhelm, confuse, and obliterate, betting that no system, however advanced, can stand against such volume and sophistication. The stakes are existential. Should Belgorod's shield collapse, thousands would perish in minutes, and Russia's military doctrine, its claim to security, would be in ruins. The shockwaves would not stop at Russia's borders. Allies and adversaries alike watch, knowing that success or failure will reshape how the world thinks about war, alliances, and survival itself. But what truly happened that night? Was Russia's vaunted air defense a hollow boast, or the dawn of something revolutionary? The answers would force every nation to rethink what it means to be safe in the age of unstoppable weapons. To understand how Belgorod survived, we must first see how the attack unfolded, second by second, layer by layer. The story begins not in the skies, but deep below the surface. How do you protect a city when the enemy unleashes everything at once? In early November of 2025, the skies above Belgorod transformed into the crucible of the most intense technological duel modern warfare has ever witnessed. Intelligence signaled a looming storm. Over 72 hours, the adversary amassed hundreds of missiles, drones, and decoys just beyond the border, all primed for a single, overwhelming blow. This was no ordinary barrage. The enemy's doctrine was brutal in its simplicity: overload, confuse, and conquer. They orchestrated multi-wave, multi-directional attacks, launching weapons from every altitude and bearing. The goal, not only to smash through defenses, but to drown them in chaos, hoping even the most advanced air defense would crack under relentless pressure. For Russian command, the stakes could not have been higher. It was not just about saving Belgorod's civilians and critical infrastructure. This was a trial by fire, a chance to prove Russia's integrated air defense could withstand the most sophisticated, Western-supplied assault ever attempted. Reputation, strategic initiative, and global credibility all teetered on a knife edge. The offensive opened with the first salvo: swarms of drones, rocket artillery, and a blizzard of false targets. Their mission was to wear down defenders, not with destruction, but with confusion, draining missile reserves, exposing hidden batteries, and flooding command channels with noise. It was psychological warfare, aiming to force mistakes and reveal the city's last lines of defense. Failure would have meant more than the loss of a city. It threatened a shockwave of doubt, eroding public trust and casting a shadow over Russia's military technology in the eyes of allies and adversaries alike. But in the new era of warfare, guns and missiles are only part of the fight. The real battle now shifted to the invisible realm, a digital nervous system that linked radars, interceptors, and human decision-makers in real time, racing to outthink and outpace the onslaught. As the second wave gathered on the horizon, commanders faced a grim question. Could their networks keep up, or would seconds lost mean disaster? The answer would reshape the future of air defense, and the fate of cities far beyond Belgorod. Can artificial intelligence and networked sensors truly outthink a strike planned by the world's most cunning tacticians? The answer is coming, not in a laboratory, but above Belgorod's sleeping streets, where war turns theory to ash in the dark. Russia's air defense is not a mere line of missiles. It is a living lattice, layered, interconnected, and humming with relentless streams of real-time data. Automated command centers fuse signals from ground and airborne radars, networked sensors, and distant observation posts, assembling a single, shifting panorama of the sky above. At the system's summit, the formidable S-400 stands sentinel, poised to swat down high-flying, long-range threats. Closer in, the Pantsir SM's rapid-fire autocannons and missiles rake the lower corridors, while the mobile Tor M2U batteries stalk agile drones and rockets, shifting their positions like chess pieces with every passing minute. In the electronic shadows, units like Krasuka 4 and Divnomori jam and deceive, weaving confusion into every enemy signal and guidance system. But the true nerve center is the automated control room. Here, artificial intelligence does the impossible, classifying, prioritizing, and assigning targets faster than any human could hope. There is no hesitation, no fatigue, no sliver of doubt to let disaster slip through. Every weapon is tasked with surgical precision, every round counted, every volley calculated to conserve strength for the battles ahead. The opening wave arrives, hundreds of expendable drones and decoy rockets hurled at the city. The response is instant and disciplined. Medium and close-range batteries roar to life, flooding the night with shrapnel and interceptors. Targets are shredded before they approach engagement range. Camouflage, radio silence, and ruthless fire discipline mask the true positions of launchers, denying the enemy intelligence for their follow-up blows. Electronic warfare proves decisive, but almost invisible. Krasuka 4 and Divnomori disrupt links, scramble navigation, and sever drone controls. Many threats simply spiral down or drift away, neutralized before a missile ever launches. Yet the tension is relentless. In this war of algorithms and sensor fusion, a single miscalculation, a software crash, a data overload, a moment's ambiguity, could mean disaster. Thousands of lives, the fate of Belgorod's defenses, and perhaps the balance of power itself, hinge on the system's flawless performance. There is absolutely no room for failure. As radar screens clear and the debris of the first wave settles, a sharper dread takes hold. This was only the prologue. The main thrust, ballistic and cruise missiles, the deadliest tools in the enemy's arsenal, are already screaming toward Belgorod at supersonic speed. The defenders brace for the real attack, knowing that every lesson from the first wave will be tested in seconds. This is where the future of warfare will be decided. What does it take to stop hypersonic death raining in from 300 kilometers away? The answer: a shield so layered and adaptive that every moment becomes a duel of human wits against machine learning, where the tiniest miscalculation may spell disaster. The defenders brace as the enemy unleashes a second, even deadlier wave. This time, dozens of ballistic missiles arc high into the stratosphere, each one seeking to plunge down at unimaginable speed. Simultaneously, cruise missiles skim barely 100 meters above the ground, weaving through valleys and over treetops. The enemy's intent is unmistakable: overwhelm the defense, sow confusion, and punch through any gap. Near the edge of space, S-400 batteries lock on. Their interceptors launch, multiple types, each adapting mid-flight to the ballistic missile's shifting trajectories. At lower altitudes, others hunt the cruise missiles along the Earth's curve. The S-400's versatility is crucial now, the ability to engage both sky-high and terrain-hugging threats, switching targets in fractions of a second. But hardware alone is not enough. Overhead, A-50U early warning aircraft orchestrate the invisible dance. Their sweeping radars, linked with ground stations, feed real-time targeting data into a unified command system. Decoys and phantom launches are weeded out in milliseconds. Algorithms predict likely impact points, while operators approve intercepts, making sure every real missile is challenged. Each incoming weapon, ballistic or cruise, is destroyed at a safe distance. The defense refuses to waste interceptors on decoys or fall for bait. Every shot is measured, resources preserved, positions concealed. The defenders' discipline ensures they do not reveal their trump cards or deplete their arsenal too early. Yet the enemy adapts. In a final, desperate salvo, ultra-low-flying cruise missiles and loitering munitions scream in below the radar horizon, trying to slip under the shield. Here, the modernized Pantsir SM systems come into their own. Upgraded with sharper radars, faster interceptors, and rapid-fire cannons, they spot and obliterate threats that slip through the upper layers. Complete integration into the defense network ensures every blip is met with an answer. Now the fight is up close, point blank. Missiles, guns, sensors, and artificial intelligence combine with human reflexes. Automated responses neutralize fleeting targets in milliseconds, but operators are always ready to take over. Machine and human, side by side, ensuring that even the smallest, stealthiest threat is destroyed before it can inflict harm. The stakes could not be higher. A single missile breaking through could annihilate a command post, cripple a power plant, or devastate a neighborhood, undermining not just lives, but the entire doctrine of layered defense. Tonight, zero penetration is the only acceptable outcome, and so far, the shield holds. But the night is far from over. The attackers have one final gambit, and the defenders must adapt once more. Can you really blind, confuse, and hijack a modern attacking force without firing a single shot? Over Belgorod, the answer was undeniable: yes, if you control the invisible battle space. Electronic warfare was not a sideshow. It was the silent blade, flashing unseen. Russian jamming veiled the entire region, scrambling satellite navigation, blinding missile seekers, and slicing the control threads of enemy drones. In mere seconds, high-value smart weapons became useless metal, crashing in empty fields. But there was more at play: intelligence, both human and electronic. Russian reconnaissance, leveraging local informants and signal intercepts, detected the enemy's preparations days ahead. There would be no element of surprise. By the time the first wave launched, defenders were already shifting, sensors sweeping for the faintest sign of incoming threats. Doctrine shaped the outcome. This was not a fixed shield. It was a living organism, learning, adapting, evolving with every salvo. Each intercepted drone or missile fed data to an artificial intelligence-driven command hub. Firing patterns were recalibrated in real time, assets were redeployed, and enemy tricks were anticipated before they unfolded. Every minute, the defense grew sharper, closing gaps the attackers never realized existed. Meanwhile, the attackers stuck to the familiar Western playbook: layered barrages, multi-directional salvos, and faith in surprise and technological edge. On paper, it was overwhelming. In reality, it unraveled, outpaced and outmaneuvered by defenders who fused intelligence, algorithmic speed, and seamless coordination. After the storm, Russian crews combed debris fields, collecting splintered drones and missile wreckage. Each shard was a trove of secrets, confirming total interception, exposing the enemy's technology, and sending a message to both friends and rivals. The system worked, without a single leak. In this shadow war, the greatest danger was not a missed missile. It was failing to invest in these silent, shifting layers of defense. For any nation, gambling on firepower alone and neglecting the invisible front could spell the difference between survival and disaster. So, what does this night over Belgorod reveal about the future of air warfare and the myth of technological invincibility? Soon, the world would study Belgorod's defense, searching for clues and weaknesses. But the lesson was already clear. The silent front decides who survives. When the sky is clear, the true victors are those who innovate, quietly, relentlessly, and together. What happened above Belgorod in early November 2025 was not just a duel of machines. It was a collision of intellects, a warning to any nation still comforted by old ideas of strength and security. In this new era, the real edge does not belong to whoever fields the shiniest hardware, but to those who forge living, adaptive ecosystems, where humans and artificial intelligence, sensors and shooters all learn and evolve together. That night, an assault unlike any before swept in waves across the Russian border. Some of the most advanced military planners in the West had designed it. A relentless storm of swarms and missiles meant to overwhelm by sheer volume and complexity. But Russia's defense did not merely hold. It unraveled the attack, fusing layers of sensors, mobile interceptors, and electronic warfare into a single thinking organism, each layer feeding, masking, shifting, and striking in concert. Every missile, every drone, met a system that would not be mapped or predicted. The defense refused to play by the attacker's rules. Algorithms coordinated interceptors and jammers, scrambling the enemy's sequencing, denying their decoys, and turning chaos into a grim, synchronized dance. Even as waves of expendable drones and rockets pressed in, the system absorbed, adapted, and countered, waiting, learning, and only revealing its strongest blows at the perfect instant. This battle makes one fact impossible to ignore. In tomorrow's conflicts, survival will not be decided by firepower alone, but by how deeply and intelligently systems are integrated. National security will belong to those who see war as a living contest, where algorithms, electronic camouflage, and rapid retasking matter as much as steel or explosives. If governments and military leaders fail to learn the lesson of Belgorod, the cost will not be measured only in red-faced budgets or bruised pride. It will be counted in vulnerability, in the lives of ordinary citizens, in cities left exposed. Technological stagnation is not merely a bureaucratic problem. It is an open door to disaster. Victory now demands thinking beyond the next missile or drone. It means building defenses that do not just withstand attack, but grow sharper and more cunning with every assault, turning each challenge into a catalyst for evolution. The future will favor those who do not just match threats, but reimagine what is possible when human insight and machine intelligence are fused into one adaptive whole. The question, then, is not who possessed the most advanced weapons, but who learned the fastest, who adapted the deepest, and who trusted in invisible networks and silent partnerships. The battle for Belgorod was won not by noise, but by minds and machines moving in quiet, relentless harmony. But let us step back. To truly appreciate the magnitude of what transpired over Belgorod, it helps to examine historical parallels, analyze the concrete technologies involved, and explore the practical steps any nation can take to avoid disaster in the future. Let's begin by comparing this episode to one of the most famous air defense challenges in modern history: the British defense during the Battle of Britain in 1940. Back then, radar was a novel technology, and the chain of human observers, spotters, and scrambled fighter squadrons was all that stood between London and devastation. The British invented the daunting system, a networked command and control architecture that allowed information from radar and spotters to be rapidly processed and relayed. It was a marvel for its time, but entirely human-driven, with delays measured in minutes and decisions subject to fatigue and error. Fast forward over 80 years, and Belgorod's defense is a quantum leap beyond that. Instead of relying on human eyes and voice relays, every radar return, every electronic blip, is instantly fused and analyzed by artificial intelligence. There is no single point of failure. If one node goes down, the network reroutes. Where the British once feared running out of Hurricanes and Spitfires, modern defenders fear a software crash or a cyber breach. The speed of decision-making has moved from minutes to milliseconds. Consider also the Israeli Iron Dome system, which has become a symbol of layered defense against rockets and drones. While Iron Dome is highly effective against short-range threats, it remains limited by the number of ready interceptors and the necessity of prioritizing threats to maximize coverage. In the Belgorod scenario, the number of incoming weapons dwarfs even the largest rocket barrages Israel has ever faced, forcing Russian planners to stretch every trick in the playbook, from electronic warfare to mobile deception and dynamic target assignment. A practical example: in 2023, during a significant drone and missile attack on Kiev, Ukrainian air defense crews managed to shoot down the majority of incoming threats. Yet even a handful of successful strikes caused widespread blackouts and civilian panic. The lesson from Belgorod is that merely surviving is not enough. The standard must be zero penetration, because the cost of a single leak, a power grid destroyed, a hospital hit, a command bunker vaporized, can be catastrophic, both materially and psychologically. So, what are the concrete practical steps that any nation must take to prepare for the next Belgorod? First, invest not just in hardware, but in networks. Every radar and sensor must feed a common AI-driven command system, capable of fusing thousands of data streams and making split-second decisions. Redundancy is crucial. The system must be able to lose nodes to sabotage, cyber attack, or physical destruction and still function. Second, develop true multi-layered defenses. No single weapon system can handle every threat. The S-400 can reach high and far, but cannot stop a drone buzzing at rooftop level. Pantsir and Tor batteries must be mobile, unpredictable, and interconnected, ready to fill any gap. Training must go beyond mere operation. It must teach crews to improvise, redeploy, and cooperate seamlessly with electronic warfare and cyber defense teams. Third, prioritize electronic warfare as highly as kinetic weapons. In Belgorod, jamming and spoofing neutralized a significant share of threats before launchers ever fired a shot. This is not glamorous work. It is invisible and often underfunded. But as the Belgorod case shows, it is absolutely decisive. Nations must develop offensive and defensive cyber capabilities, able to disrupt enemy communications, navigation, and targeting in real time. Fourth, invest in rapid forensic analysis and feedback loops. Every intercepted drone or missile is a potential goldmine of intelligence. Debris should be gathered, analyzed, and exploited to improve defenses and reveal enemy innovations. For example, after the attack on Saudi oil facilities in 2019, investigators pieced together drone parts to uncover Iranian manufacturing signatures, leading to sanctions and countermeasures. Fifth, cultivate a culture of constant adaptation. The greatest danger in modern warfare is not technical inferiority, but organizational complacency. Belgorod's defenders were successful because they treated every wave of the attack as a learning opportunity, recalibrating tactics and updating algorithms in real time. Exercises and war games must simulate not just expected attacks, but the wildest, most sophisticated scenarios planners can imagine. To illustrate how these lessons can be implemented, imagine a hypothetical scenario. A mid-sized European nation, facing the threat of drone and missile swarms from a hostile neighbor, invests in a distributed sensor network. Radars, acoustic detectors, infrared cameras, all linked to an AI hub. Mobile anti-aircraft batteries move unpredictably, never staying in the same place twice. Electronic warfare teams constantly scan for suspicious signals, ready to jam or hijack enemy drones. Every intercepted weapon is quickly analyzed, and the findings are distributed across the network, updating defense algorithms on the fly. In wargame after wargame, the defenders improve, adapting to new tactics and technologies faster than their adversaries can innovate. On the flip side, imagine a state that spends lavishly on flashy hardware, new fighter jets, high-speed missiles, but neglects network integration and training. When the attack comes, sensors fail to communicate, batteries target decoys, and operators freeze, uncertain whether a blip is friend or foe. Even with the most advanced equipment, the defense collapses. The difference is not money or raw firepower, but the ability to function as a living, adaptive organism. Returning to Belgorod, let us consider the psychological dimension. The enemy's goal was not just physical destruction, but the sowing of panic, using the fog of war and social media to amplify chaos. In the age of smartphones and instant news, the perception of security is as vital as its reality. A single video of a missile striking a hospital, even if the attack failed overall, can spark outrage and political crisis. This is why information operations, countering disinformation, managing public expectations, and demonstrating competence, are now integral to defense. One practical step is to create rapid response information teams that monitor social media, debunk false claims, and provide transparent, timely updates to the public. After the Belgorod attack, Russian authorities showcased intercepted debris and released footage of successful intercepts, reassuring citizens and deterring enemy propaganda. Trust, once lost, is hard to recover. Transparency and visible competence are the bedrock of public confidence. Finally, let us confront the uncomfortable question: can any system truly guarantee perfect defense? History teaches humility. The Maginot Line, the Siegfried Line, the Bar-Lev Line, all were once thought impregnable, only to be outflanked or bypassed by new tactics. The lesson from Belgorod is not that any system is invincible, but that the only path to security lies in relentless adaptation, integration, and learning. In conclusion, the battle over Belgorod is a blueprint for the wars of tomorrow. The future will belong to those who build integrated, adaptive, and resilient defense networks, where every threat is met by a thinking, evolving shield. It will belong to those who invest as much in invisible software and electronic warfare as in hardware, who train for the unexpected, and who never stop learning from every attack, every failure, every fragment of debris. The myth of technological invincibility is shattered. What remains is the reality of living defense, a perpetual contest of wits, algorithms, and human will. As the smoke cleared over Belgorod, one lesson emerged for every nation watching: only those who adapt survive. And in the silent contest above the clouds, victory will always go to those who prepare, innovate, and never, ever grow complacent. So the next time you look up at a clear sky, remember, the real shield is not what you see, but what you imagine, build, and evolve beneath its calm surface. The future is not written in steel, but in code, and in the minds of those who never stop learning.